So let's talk about your mind. We're going to dive into these two really powerful states that it operates in. And the whole point here is to help you understand them, learn how to shift between them, and ultimately, take back the controls of your own inner world.
Does this sound familiar? You know that feeling when you're just on autopilot? A flash of anger, a wave of anxiety hits you before you even have a chance to think? If that's you, well, you're definitely not alone. That's exactly what it feels like when our reactive, habitual thoughts are running the show.
And look, the stakes here are actually pretty high. Let's just do some quick math. If you get hit with anxiety, say 5 times a day, that's over 1,800 times a year. And in a decade, that's a staggering 18,000 anxious moments. For a lot of people, this isn't just a bad habit, it's pretty much a way of life.
But here's a kind of a radical idea. What if those anxious, looping thoughts aren't the real you? What if they're just events passing through your awareness like clouds in the sky? Honestly, this one question is the key to everything we're about to unpack.
Okay, so let's give this autopilot a name, right? In Eastern wisdom traditions, it's often called the default mind. This is our impulsive, almost mechanical consciousness. It's the part of us that's running on old programming, the part that gets stuck on that hamster wheel, and yeah, it's the source of so much of our anxiety and inner conflict.
So really, we can operate from two very different modes. You've got the default mind over here, impulsive, reactive, anxious, that hamster wheel we just talked about. And then, on the other side, you have the discerning mind, aware, reflective, and calm. This is your mind when it's being consciously guided by you, not just by old habits.
And here's the real game changer, the core insight. We don't have two separate minds at war with each other. Nope, we have one mind that can exist in two totally different states. And what determines the state? It's all about its contents.
This idea completely reframes the whole problem, doesn't it? The big takeaway is that you can stop trying to fight or defeat your anxious thoughts. The real work is actually much gentler. It's about learning to simply observe the contents of your mind, and then, with awareness, consciously changing them.
Here's a great way to think about it. Your mind is like water. It can be a chaotic, stormy sea, or it can be a perfectly still, clear lake. But through all of that, its essential nature, H2O, it never changes. It's still just water. Your mind is exactly the same. Its fundamental nature is whole and okay. It's just a temporary state that changes.
Okay, let's try another powerful metaphor. This one really helps us understand our essential nature. That part of us that stays completely untouched and undamaged by all that mental turbulence we just talked about.
We'll call this the real self. Just think of it as your core being, your essential nature. And what's its defining characteristic? It is permanently peaceful and whole. It literally cannot be damaged by the temporary thoughts and emotions that just wash over it.
So, in this shiny floor metaphor, your real self is like this beautiful, permanently shiny floor. All that temporary junk from the default mind, the anxiety, the fear, the conflict, it's just dirt and dust on the surface. Now here's the crucial part. The dirt never damages the floor. So awareness becomes the simple act of cleaning away the dust, revealing the brilliant shine that was there all along.
All right, so now we know our core self is basically untouchable. So let's look at those negative thoughts from a totally new angle. They aren't who you are. They're just temporary visitors passing through your mind.
We can even think of them as unauthorized occupants. Yeah, that's right. Anxiety, anger, guilt, they're like squatters in your mental home. They might show up uninvited, but they are just temporary visitors, not the rightful owners. You are.
So why do these temporary visitors have so much power over us? It really comes down to this one fundamental mistake. The default mind merges your identity, you, the observer, with the temporary thought, the thing being observed. This is the huge difference between saying, I am noticing a feeling of anxiety, versus the much more damaging statement, I am anxious. See the difference?
So we've got the concepts, we've got the metaphors, but how do we actually use this stuff in the real world? In the heat of the moment? Well, here is a super practical tool to help you interrupt that autopilot mode.
It's called the break principle. A simple 4-step process. First, B is for behold. Just notice the mental habit as it shows up, no judgment. Second, R is for, well, it should be pause, but let's just go with it. Pause. Create that crucial space between the trigger and your reaction. Third, recognize. See the unhelpful pattern for what it is. And finally, awaken. Engage that discerning mind and ask yourself, Is this thought permanent, or is it temporary?
And if you need a memorable, kind of funny way to lock this in, think of this analogy. If you see a donkey, do you become the donkey? Of course not, right? Because you're separate from it. Well, it's the exact same thing with the thought of anxiety. Just because you notice it doesn't mean it is you.
So really, this whole journey from the default to the discerning mind is about remembering who you truly are. It's about cleaning the dust off to see that shiny floor that was always there, underneath it all. And it leaves us with one final crucial question to think about. Are you truly living your life, or is your default mind living it for you?